Well, thank you very, very much for joining us and spending 45 minutes of your valuable time to listen to this Missions Monday. We have two wonderful guests. We have Pastor Binu Zachariah, the head pastor from Mumbai, and this part of Reaching Your Samaria will be concentrating on what is coming out of Mumbai, India. And then the second guest is, well, he's more like an Indian than a lot of Indians, and it's Pastor John Kenny. That I think, okay, that he has spent 12 plus years in India, and I don't think that there is a mission field that each one of these men have not visited or plan to visit. So the title of this is Reaching Your Samaria. And like, what is Samaria? When we think of the word Samaria, we think of Bible readers think of John chapter 4, where Jesus Christ walked 24 miles to reach one woman. And the woman was at a well in Samaria. And why did he do this? I think the first point valuable thing in an individual reaching the Samaria, which is their surrounding area of their country, not just their city or outskirts of the city, but all over the country. And India has done an excellent job of that. And why did Jesus, okay, go to Samaria? Well, first of all, he had eyes for Samaria. He had eyes that the natural man did not have. He had eyes, okay, that his disciples did not have. And when he saw that woman in need in Samaria, he went to Samaria. He purposed. And every born again believer that God has put eternity in your hearts, and He has given you eyes, okay, for the lost. We do not just see people in the crowd, but we see people that are lost. And here's another example of an individual that saw a land that was afar off. Moses in Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse 4. He saw the land that was far off. He was looking for a city whose builder and maker was God in Hebrews chapter 11. So in John 4:35, Jesus Christ's eyes, okay, they were lifted up. They were lifted up, and he said, look upon the fields where they are white. He had eyes to see the woman, he had eyes to see the field, and he had feet that went. And I think about trained eyes, the value of a training, Bible college training. Like if you go to an eye doctor, he looks into your eye and he sees things that the untrained individual can't see. And Bible college students, born again believers, students of the Word of God, we have trained eyes that we can see things that the other natural man cannot see. The second thing is required, I believe, and important in John chapter 4 about reaching your Samaria, is that Christ said, I must needs go. There was something impelling with him. He did not have an option. He had limited his options, and he said, I must needs go through Samaria. There is a wide open door for Jesus Christ. In 1 Corinthians 9:16, Paul describes that there is a wide door, that there are many obstacles. It was not advised um, for people from Jerusalem to go the route through Samaria. That was dangerous. It was really against, okay, their religion, and they would always take the way around it. Jesus said, I must needs go. And I think that's a valuable part in reaching your Samaria. There's something burning in your heart. There's something burning in the heart for each one of these men. I can remember, okay, like during the COVID time, each one of these men, okay, took trips. They were not hindered by the adversary of a COVID disease. They took trips and visited the mission field. And the third point in John chapter 3 is that, well, Jesus, when he arrived, okay, like when he arrived at the well to talk with the Samaritan woman, it said that he was wearied. Reaching your Samaria, okay, is hard work. Sitting in your city might not be as hard work, but Jesus was not afraid of hard work. He walked 24 hours. So part of reaching Samaria is be willing, okay, to spend some energy doing it. And John chapter 4, verse 6, Jesus sat down because he was wearied. And there's obstacles in the way, but God is more than able to overcome those obstacles. And the fourth point is we need a vision for Samaria, need a vision for it, something burning in our heart. And I believe, okay, prayers that God will answer. If we pray according to his will, he answers. And I believe, okay, if a man prays for a vision, a God given vision, that he will get it. And so the 4 points that I was looking at, we want to talk, I want to discuss some devotional was we need eyes to see Samaria, something burning in our heart, be willing to spend some energy, some time, and some resources to reach. Can you imagine, okay, people spend all of their vacation money to go to an area to look at a site or a building, and they spend a lot of money for that. But individuals that are involved with reaching their Samaria will spend all that money, will spend money, will sit in a hut, fellowshipping, okay, with people in very, very simple surroundings and have the time of their life. And so we have, I want to direct with some questions. First to Pastor Binu and then to Pastor John. And these men have a, a spring of information that they'll be able to tell us on what they have done and what has worked. So, Pastor Binu, would you be able to talk about the value of teams going to Samaria instead of just individuals, but teams, and how do you see them form coming out of Mumbai?
Yeah, well, Pastor Fred, and it's a great devotion as you shared about that, as Jesus is going with the disciples and into Samaria, and so I just want to say that I personally experienced the team life is a little giant in this world. There are so many challenges, but the team life is a kind of a it's a great uh, boost in a way for all of us as we go in the different field, especially in the topic concerned today about Samaria. Uh, I remember actually I had a privilege. We have a privilege to work with Pastor Carl, a great man of God who is right now in the presence of God. Um, he's a amazing man of vision, and he had an eye to see the Samaria where the natural man or maybe the new believers we could not see. But then he was a kind of a person who take us in many trips. And I remember in going with him to Samaria, like in one of the cities, maybe around 4 or 5 hours away from Mumbai city, and taking going outreaches, and then doing some Bible studies in some contacts which we get, and that was like a created a like a fire in our own hearts, and it is really in a kind of amazing to see that the team life as we go with one another believer. The verse says, "An iron sharpens iron," and
Mhm.
it is such a beautiful an experience. Like you feel you are experiencing the body life, and it's not kind of you're doing it out of a duty, but you are doing it because of a kind of life you are experienced, and then you want to pour it out other people, which is they are looking, the world is looking, and so that's an amazing, and we experienced that in my own our own life. And in
Mm.
2010, we moved to a place where we were seven of us, led by Pastor Devendra, his family, and myself and my family, and then there are two more people. And it was such a blessed. And I would say that one of the highlights of my life is the starting. We could see a church is like a born, like we see a people have full grown adults, but once they were a little boy or a little girl. But in the same way, we saw that the church was in 2010 grown from a little like a start, but there was an amazing group of 7 or 8 team members. All of them are like graduates in the Bible college under Pastor Carl, and we were all sent out from the home base and
Mm.
into this particular place, and we could see that the impact of that team life till now. That the church is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
so I that's amazing. Yeah,
wow. So you took long trips with Pastor Carl, 4 to 5 hours away from Mumbai, and even much more than that. Okay, in certain areas, and then you that fire was cultivated in your heart, and that fire never went out, and that fire was transferred to a church plant in Navi Mumbai. Correct?
yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
And
it
you
was,
move there. That
yeah.
fire really causes them to move. Now you went there with 7 people. Tell me about like the formation of that team. They were you were probably together before you went for that church plant.
Yeah, actually, I moved from a different city with my family, with my two children, and then Pastor Devendra and his family moved. We all moved in the same week of the same month, and in a way, it was such a great joy. So initially, we did not start the church, but as a team, we started meeting very often. In a way, every day evening we used to meet,
As a team,
and
you started meeting. Yes. Okay.
yeah, we used to read one of the book by Pastor Schaller called "Spreading Your Global Wings." And it's
Okay.
a small
Yeah.
booklet kind of. It has such an impact on us, and in that it says
Wow.
that the team life is a little giant in this world, or a little David. Like it was such an amazing. Uh, we moved in 2010 April there, but we started the church service in the month of July, because Pastor Carl wanted us to come on Sundays there in the home based church.
Yeah.
And so we waited for at least like almost 3 4 months before we start the service, Sunday morning service. But we all other things were happening. We have a evening fellowships and one Bible college in one particular place. And then more often for the outreaches, and
Yeah.
it's all in a way there was a kind of momentum we had because of
Momentum.
the because of the team life. And we were we were like in a way eagerly waiting for that hour. Okay, when is that fellowship? When is the next? And people did not like, it was a kind of, it was
Yeah.
a
What,
kind of not a mechanical, okay, I have to do this way, or but there was a kind of, and God miraculously gathered people, and we could see that happen. And
yeah.
I'm so glad, and I'm so glad. I was whenever I think about those years, and it's amazing, and that's exactly happening in many places in our country, in our churches.
Yeah. And you recently took a trip to the farthest point northeast in India.
Yeah, it was a very interesting northeast part of that particular states. It's a place called Arunachal Pradesh, which is bordering to China. We don't have any Greater Grace Church, and but it's surprising to see. By faith, we six of us went, and it was surprising to see the God gave that day we arrived. We have a like we had a fruitful time. We
Yeah.
had some contacts we got, we visited them, and then one contact out of nowhere, like we got it from one of a person from Mumbai church gave, maybe this may helpful, this contact.
Yeah.
And that was such a blessed time, and it
Yeah.
was such amazing. And she was looking for fellowship. She was looking for kind of this kind of, she never met us, but when we met, it's as if we are like we know each other for years.
Wow.
So it's amazing. Like you take a faith step as a team, you go on,
Faith
and
step.
yeah, one mind,
Yeah.
and one heart, and
And
so we passed.
that was your Samaria coming out of Mumbai, is on the
Yeah,
northern east part of India. Long way.
yeah, yeah, very long way. It's a very far away. It's one of
48
the,
hours by train, right?
yeah, maybe more than that for that
Maybe
particular place.
more. Maybe 70, yeah, 72 or whatever, a 96-hour train ride.
We
Wow.
can celebrate.
Well,
Yeah,
let's hear from Pastor John. And really, I think of you, I think of a man that just uh, missionary, uh, Bible college, what you are doing in car, but also, okay, car for our listeners is in Mumbai, but and what you have done in your Samarias. So tell me, Pastor John, could you talk about the role of Bible college? Because you have been the head of Bible college, maybe still are today, I don't know, but nonetheless, the value of Bible college in reaching your Samaria.
Yeah, yeah. You hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. Uh, good to see you, Pastor Fred. See you in a
Good to
few
see
weeks.
you.
See you in a few weeks in Mumbai. It'll be great.
Yeah,
We'll have a wonderful
amen.
conference.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bible college. It really is key. And there's a vibrant Bible college here in Andheri, but actually not only Andheri, there's a really good Bible colleges in different parts of India, because it's something that they kind of, the goal was to replicate, not just the church, but replicate the Bible college. And maybe I can say a little, just real short in a few points. We said it on Sunday. We were talking about missions in the Andheri church on Sunday, and just was Pastor Carl has a little booklet called Paul's Strategy for Missions,
yeah,
and he just got 4 steps in it. And the first one is keep on pioneering places we haven't reached before. Keep on going to new areas. So like Pastor Binu just came back from this Arunachal Pradesh, if I'm saying it right. That's a new area. We've not been there before. No contacts. Well, they had contacts, but never been, never met the people. And so now there's a little vision there. Those people will pray. There's a pastor who lives in that region. He's like 6 hours by train, but it's in the region. So that pioneering, keep going to new places. That was the first step. The second step was Bible college. Have Bible college in the church. And it has a few good values in it. One is that you are going to train your local church. It's not just for the dedicated Bible college would-be missionaries, but everyone in the church. And it creates a mature church. And to have a missions church and really a missions movement, which by the grace of God has been sustained here in Mumbai for many, many years, but it's because there's a mature church behind it, not only they're financially supporting it, but they are part of those mission trips. They really welcome all the missionaries at the conference we're going to have with Pastor Schaller. The church is the home base for them and welcoming them because they're mature. They know why the missionaries are doing what they're doing. So that's the second thing, the Bible college. And the third one, which is I always overlooked it. I never really saw it. And it is a Bible college doesn't give you Christian workers, but you have to personally invest in those individuals. It gives you a pool of people to take whoever wants to and who to personally invest. And that personal investment in individuals is where you get the leaders. And the last thing, of course, is when you raise up people, you send them out. And so just last year, on the Bible colleges, and there is a great Bible school. There's 5 English classes, and there's also another 5 Hindi classes going on at the same time. Obviously, different nights or different times of the day. So there's both a Hindi and an English one, and that's been replicated in different mission fields, Orissa, Nepal, as we all know about, and then in many other places. So they're doing the same, raising up their own workers and leaders.
So each one of these branch ministries, they have different degrees of Bible college, right? In raising up their own workers to reach, their Jerusalems, their Judeas, and in essence, coming out of Mumbai, that would be your Samaria, not to be confusing on it, but it's duplicating. And that momentum is still going, training up people. Tell me, how many, you have a Bible college in Carr, correct?
Yeah, we started, let me see. We started, I think, just after the lockdown. It was just me, so I did 1 class, and then I started to do 2 classes in a week. And then Suraj Subha came. He's a graduate from the Andheri Bible School, and he came and joined and started teaching. So now we do 4 classes a week. So it's slow.
You have connections with people in UP, correct, from your Carr church?
Yeah, a lot of the Carr church are migrant workers. They come to Mumbai to work. They're farm people, and they come to Mumbai because you can earn a salary. So then they love us to go and visit them in the villages, which are very open.
They're migrant workers, but some taken Bible college, correct?
There's the ones who are here in Mumbai, yeah, some of those are taking, and then one of them in Mumbai, he takes the classes by video.
I mean, that's amazing. It's not for the 19-year-old that's he's a worker. He's come to Mumbai to work, and just as Pastor Binu said, the Bible college is for the church. It mobilizes the church. And you're seeing that vision to reach Samaria coming from your local church in Carr, and being developed, in the Bible college, and then reaching out to your Samaria and the northern part of India, correct? For people that don't know the geography of India.
Yeah, it's slow moving. Maybe I'll just mention one thing, and Pastor Binu can tell about Sikkim because he's just come back from there. It's a good example of the Bible colleges. There's Nepal was the first one, not the first one, but it's the one most developed. They have a full Bible college, 5, 6, 7 teachers. They have their own graduates now and their own going out and being missionaries. Orissa has 5 graduates from Andheri, so they have 5 high quality teachers. They now have their own graduates fully trained in Orissa from
Yeah.
start to finish, and very good quality. And there's another one in Gujarat. Now, Pastor Binu has just been up in Sikkim, which is the north, it borders on Nepal, and they have also 5 graduates from Andheri. That's a lot of Bible college teachers, and they have them there. So
Mhm.
they are just getting going, and it's a good example of, what can be what's happening in Kathmandu.
Wow. So, Pastor Bean, you want to spring off that, or you got something else you'd like
Yeah,
to spring on?
yeah. I just remember that Moses went to the mountain, and he said that you have to build the articles like the tabernacle according to the pattern which
Yeah.
he saw. And I think that we have a pattern in a kind of things the Spirit has taught, and we have seen it. And in Mumbai, they learned, and then they have saw a pattern in the Spirit in a way, and they are in a way replicating that in their own places. And especially in this particular place where I was there with Pastor Roshan, the elder of one of the elder of our church,
Yeah.
it was such a amaze and a joy we had in that place in Sikkim.
In Sikkim.
And yeah, Sikkim, Pastor Obed, and with him all these men, and all these men are like graduated from our Bible college in Mumbai, trained in Mumbai, and
Yes, they are. Yeah.
all of them are spearheading the work there. And
Yeah.
they are not scattered, but they come together, have a team life. And in the late night we had rap sessions and food, and oh, it was a very fun time. And yeah, and also self, like they are learning to self-supporting, self-governing in a way, and self-propagating. They are reaching their own Samaria now,
Yeah.
and their own capacity. And they are, and we had also Bible college graduation we had there. And I believe around 7 of them got graduated first 1 year, like a Bible college they
Sure.
finished. And for a small, like kind of 50 people, 760 people church, this was the first time they were doing a this many people are getting finishing 1 year Bible college.
Well,
And they could do this because they have teachers, and those
yes.
teachers, they have teachers because they are learned in our in the Bible college, trained, not only
Mhm.
just trained, they were invested by the many men of God here, by Pastor Carl. And now they
Yeah.
are doing there, not just a course, but also being with them, going with them for a tea, investing in their lives. And I was so happy to see that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
have you and of course, okay, like uh during the seasons, okay, of Christmas and Easter, um I think the majority of these branch ministries coming out of Samaria, which really pepper, coming out of Mumbai, that pepper the landscape of India. They do their own, okay, like praise marches, floats, street preaching, whether it be in Calcutta or whether it be in Sikkim, whether it be in Orissa. Um, so some of these outreaches are seasonal, right? You take the advantage of the seasons.
yeah,
Maybe you want
yes.
to talk a little bit about that, Pastor Binu, or
Yeah, that's correct, Pastor. Like we have such an openness in our city, Mumbai. Right now, we have an openness where we can go with a special permission. We do a street preaching with the what you said about that, with a decorated truck with the music,
yeah,
and do open air preaching.
yeah.
And that's a special occasion like a Good Friday, and or in Christmas we do that. And we use this opportunity to share the gospel.
Now,
And also
how many tracks do you distribute during that time?
it depends on the location. Sometimes 20,000, or maybe 30. It depends on which locations we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And yeah, especially
And
Andheri area.
how many people join in that outreach on the average in Mumbai for Easter and Christmas?
Maybe, I don't know, 150, 200 people come together from neighboring our Greater Grace churches, all of them coming together,
Yeah,
and 200 or 250 people gather together, and we'll be in the street and flooded with the tracks and
yeah.
singing songs. Yeah,
And
so that's a good.
that fires up the vision too, doesn't it? Who knows? Somebody walking along that float, and they're part of it, and then all of a sudden something starts burning in their heart.
Yeah, yeah, it's also good for us too, right? We preach the gospel to the unbeliever, but also we are also hearing, and it's a keep a fire in our own hearts, and to reach out of the city. And the same thing is happening in the northeast part of a city, our like a country,
Yeah,
especially in Sikkim, Assam, Kolkata. And yeah, there are things are changing in some areas, especially northern part. And we have a so those churches do in a different outreaches. And
sure. Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, so there are various way they try. They are not bound by the law, but they have a desire and find some ways to reach out the lost.
and you
So
you
that's
have a young man that you raised up, and you raised up a lot of young men in Mumbai. But Bablu, Pastor Bablu, I think he's off to Samaria, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. He recently moved to a new states of India, new one of the new state of like in a new place. Not the new state, but is a, one of the new place for our as a Greater Grace. He's planting a church now. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so great joy that we met him in the outreach in the wash in the Navi Mumbai railway station
the railway
during out.
station. Yes, and you
Then
rescued him, and he got saved. And
yeah,
he's for our listening audience. He is not a big frame man. He is not a Superman type of man, but
right.
he has a supernatural God inside of him, and I just love him. And he's off
Yeah,
to Samaria. And
yes,
Pastor John said that it's a slow process. It's the Bible college and building people, and it's slow, but that makes it very very steady. And what's going on is self. I mean, it's got momentum, and it's sustainable by the Bible college, and let's see. Um, if you have something that you just really want to talk about it, and then maybe I'll ask another question. But if you got something burning that wasn't mentioned, please go ahead. Pastor John, do you have something burning?
Yeah, let me mention what like Mumbai, especially Binu said, it's quite open relative. It's a metropolitan, cosmopolitan mixture city, so it's relatively. But some of the northern parts now, it's a little more restrictive. You can't be a little bit like almost, you'd find Pastor Matthew in Oman or somewhere. Or excuse me, you'll find places, a little more. So one of the brothers there, he's very bold, and but he's also very wise, and he keeps going. So you may have to change your methods, but you don't have to change your general heart to say, I gotta reach people. Like I just share one verse we all know very well: "Be innocent as doves, cunning as serpents." And but I was listening to that verse, and so but I was saying, okay, you got to be wise, be careful, don't do this. But I was getting so wise, I wasn't doing things I should have done. I was getting too wise for my own good.
Yeah.
And I read a
Preaching,
comment.
yeah.
Yeah, I read a comment on it, and he says you have to keep the innocent as dove bit. You have to keep the sense of Jesus says, go into all the world, go into all the world. Jesus said, I'm with you always. He's with us, so go. And he's saying, if you just are cunning as a serpent, you'll be too clever and you'll talk yourself out of doing things. So that kept us to keep going. So one of the brothers, he is very bold to do evangelism, but he'll go village to village. And when a house opens up for him, he'll park there. He'll say, that's it. I got a house. That's what I'm looking for. And he'll just go there week after week after week for months and months. And what will happen is the uncle will then come. After another 3 weeks, the neighbor will come. After another, and slowly God adds to it. And that one house over the course of a year can come 20 people. And if you think about it, we do a lot of street evangelism, but if we said how many new people come to the church through street evangelism, it's not that many who come and stay. But in the course of a year, this house to house can add many people very slowly. So he does that, and he does it in a few villages. It's time consuming because you got to go to the village, go to the house. It's a 40-minute Bible study, but it takes 2 hours because hello, everyone gathers slowly,
Yeah.
you have tea. And so, but that's a profitable thing.
So like pastors and people listening in Europe and South America and Asia, they say, well, I have it's not a large size ministry, but they could start a Bible college, you're saying, and they could start with one course. And with the resources we have in Greater Grace, that's very, very doable. And also that they are trained and they can teach one course. And they should be thinking about their Samaria. Now, like when Pastor Binu was saying that when Pastor Carl was taking these trips with a dozen, Bible college students, and just stopping in a city when the train would stop, instead of running for the chai, they would get out and distribute tracts, and when the train starts taking off, jump on. And it's just like casting seeds. And I think about the trips to Punjab, that Bible college students have come out of there. Now you have in Mumbai, you have your mission training center, and the vision was and still is to get people from different states, train them, make it available, and for them, for the most part, to go back, which is a very, very unique and very effective system. And but it's happened throughout India, and just going and seeing what God will do. So you could have a small ministry, and you could do that and see what God would do. Your Samaria is not what Mumbai's is, but you have a Samaria. And later next week, we're going to hear from Bangalore and also Nepal. And they do basically the same thing with different testimonies and maybe different testimonies. Is there something that you feel, closing comment, Pastor Binu, and hopefully, has any of you timed this? How many minutes are we in?
Yeah, you got
40.
about 7 minutes.
Oh, we got 7 minutes. Okay, all right. Is that 7 Indian minutes or 7 American?
This is 40 minutes now. Oh,
Oh, now it's 14 minutes. But anyway, you have the closing comment, Pastor. What you do your close, and then Pastor John does his close, and go for it. Pastor Binu?
yeah, as you start with the John chapter 4, like Jesus went through Samaria because he knew that there is a need, and then he went and he this amazing chapter we have that whole city turned out to become believing in Jesus, isn't it? Like the majority
Yeah.
came and believed. And when you see after the post resurrection, after the resurrection of Jesus, Acts chapter 8, Philip went down to preach in Samaria, and there are many came out
Yes.
and
Yes.
they became believers. And So it's amazing that, like, as we go out into these places, we see salvation, and then you go after some years again, you go, and then you see other those, maybe those believers are flourishing in the faith. And I think that this is a great encouragement. Our labor is not in vain, right? And as we went in this recent trip, and we had a great trip, and also talking to people, and some of the people, like one person is still in contact with our team members, and like he was so touched by the message of this gospel. And it's amazing, right? Someone is like needs, the people needs, we are extra, we are ordinary people, but we are doing extraordinary things because of God, his grace. And just so thankful for that. Yeah, thank you.
Amen. Thanks, Pastor Binu. And Pastor John, please.
Yeah, just maybe what I like to say is just to repeat a little of it. And then, that idea, Pastor Binu said it this way: we have a pattern. Moses followed a pattern that he got from God, and he replicated it. And Pastor Carl got a pattern, and he replicated. He got it in Baltimore. And I remember, here's a little testimony. When I went to Bible college over there, I remember classes would finish at night at 10 p.m. So we'd all come out of the classroom into the parking lot there in Baltimore, and there'd be about 30 people around Pastor Schaller and the students. He'd be doing a rap. And by 10:30, the parking lot is empty, and the 30 students are still there. 10:45, it's down to 20 students, 11 o'clock. And this went on all the time. But Pastor Carl, who was in Bible college, I don't know, a decade before me or whatever it was, he said the very same thing. 10:30 at night, all the cars are gone, and Pastor Schaller was left in the parking lot and a group of students around him. And it was that personal investment into us was so valuable. We had our Bible college, which was great, but he was personally invested in us. And then he would take trips, and we used to all get in the Perkin Mobile, Pastor Perkin Mobile, and we'd all get in. It was Pastor John Perkins,
Yeah.
Pastor Jomi Anthony, Pastor Adam Speedy, they weren't pastors then, Joe Roach, those guys, and we'd go around with Pastor Schaller, and he would fish the Beltway, and he would take trips to New York and Massachusetts. We'd go with him, and that's just valuable. He gave us a vision. We saw things we wouldn't have seen, and we learned how he did things and how he handled things, and it was great for us.
Wow. Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks, both of you, men. I know you rearranged your schedule for this. I think it's will be very, very valuable for people that listen. And so I'm coming away with this: no matter what size your ministry is, it can be done, and you can reach your Samaria. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, Paul writes it this way: preach, teach, and reach. And that's what I think that you men have described and that you're doing. And so it's been good. I think we're going to close right now. It looks like we got about 30 seconds left, and I could be on the line and we could just chat as friends for a couple hours, but thanks, and God bless you, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Good night to
Bye-bye.
India.
Good night.